You know that moment when you have to yank really hard on the main wheel to disengage the find feed mode? Yeah, it never felt right. Every time I did it, the mechanism felt stuck. I had to use way too much force. And more often than not, it ended the same way. The circlip would launch itself across the workshop, followed closely by the tiny spring and ball bearing that keep the find feed engaged. That results in the classic workshop scavenger hunt, crawling under benches and tools, trying to find that one circlip. It's never fun, especially when you're in the middle of an important project. After going through that routine one too many times, and eventually never seeing that circlip again, I decided enough is enough. So I made a small upgrade, or actually two. First, to stop that circlip from turning into a projectile, I added a simple retention fix. I drilled and tapped a hole in the end of the shaft, then bolted on a washer. Now everything stays put, even during a forceful disengagement. Second, I tackled another frustrating problem. Sometimes the find feed would randomly disengage right in the middle of a find feed operation. Turns out, the factory design used that spring and ball bearing to hold it in find feed mode. In theory it was smart, in practice not so much. The cause of the stuck downfield wheel was the spring. It's too stiff, which keeps the ball bearing firmly seated in the shaft dimples. Loosening the grub screw did not help much. It was either too loose or too tight. One possible fix was to replace the spring with a lighter one. Light enough to allow the ball bearing to do its job, but not jam the system. So I gave that a try. And it worked. Kind of. It helped, but didn't solve the issue of keeping the wheel reliably in find feed mode. So I went a step further. I designed a find feed locking widget, a small part that lets me positively lock the feed mode. You can set it to find feed or to normal feed. No more surprises. No more drifting out of position mid-cut. If you think this is a great idea, vote for it with that like button. I'm keeping track of which ideas are most popular, and I'll share the results in a future video. Let's take a look at the parts and how it all fits together. The find feed locking widget is made up of two parts. The inner part has an L-shaped slot milled into it. The outer part slides over it and has a grub screw that rides in the L slot. A spring helps keep the mechanism snapped into either end of the slot, so it stays locked in position. Now the locking widget is mounted onto the shaft and the inner part is locked in place using the end washer. That keeps it from rotating, so the outer part can slide smoothly in the slot without shifting the whole mechanism. And just like that, the upgrade is complete. With that problem solved, I've got more ideas coming up. Check out the next idea by clicking the link on screen. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more like this. Thanks for watching. I hope this idea comes in handy in your own DIY workshop. See you next time.